We're so back. It's so over. We're so back. It's so over. We're so back. It's so over. Hello, it is episode 20 of The Witcher Mercury. And I know I said in the previous video that I'm having hope. And you know what? I still do, despite everything that's happened in this episode. So straight from the get-go, I want to say that this is definitely one of the new best episodes of the series now. I feel like I've been saying that a number of times throughout season 2, and that's because, well, season 2 is goated. But you know, like episode 14, episode 17, and episode 20 are like the peak episodes of the season, if you ask me. That's not to say every other episode is not being great. You know, if you've been listening to these videos, you know how much I love The Witcher Mercury, and that applies to many of the previous episodes. But this one was like, oh, it was so intense, and was just, oh, I remember people were discussing how much Gundam me this show was. Like, I'm not the most experienced Gundam person, but I assume this is more what they meant. Like, they want war stuff, and well, they got war stuff, and I'm indeed in a lot of pain because of it. But to start breaking down the episode, you can basically sum up the episode, or like, you can divide this episode into two halves. There is Guel versus Shaddiq, and then there is the entire attack on the school by Noria. And both of these, it is a very action-packed episode. Like, episode 17 was the last time we had like a Gundam fight, and even then it was just a duel. And now here we are back into just straight up action after like 2 episodes of just character stuff going down. And I mean, character stuff still goes down here, but now we have like life or death stakes again. And it's like, I figured something like this would happen eventually. Like, I figured this would be the episode where we start having action again, because, you know, 2 episodes, like, they usually go like at most 2 episodes without any sort of action, and you know that happened again here. So yeah, this, I expected something, like, I expected, like, a duel, honestly, like, for selected duels. I don't know why I still did. I think the duels are, like, actually over, but, like, I thought it was gonna be something safer, but nope, it is just, oh my god, people are actually dying. And I think it's with that we are actually done with the school, like, the quote-unquote school life for The Witcher Mercury. Like, I thought, like, after episode 12, my biggest wish was that, like, you know, the end of season 1, it ended. My prayer was that we didn't just immediately abandon that aspect of the show, and I was so glad to see it was still there. You know, these characters were still going to school. Like, the school aspect still wasn't a major focus, but it was still a backdrop that I enjoyed for these characters to be in. But now that we're at episode 20, it seems like a fitting time to drop that safety net for the characters now. And you know what? I'm down with it now. Like, I feel satisfied with how much time we got to spend at Astacasia, but I think at this point we're moving forward away from this setting, or at the very least, things will never be the same. Essentially, like, this is this was the big action, the big climax for like this place as like a peaceful location. But to talk specifically about the Guel and Shaddiq fight, this feels, you know, the last episode basically said that this encounter was going to happen, and it definitely paid off because, man, this is such a cool fight to watch, as well as a great clash of ideals between these 2 characters. Shaddiq, you know, it's been said previously that Shaddiq has kind of like an incel energy to him. Just the way he talks about Murone is a very like, that don't sound right, man. But he is still a character that has, he still has motivations for why he's doing the things that he do. Like, he knows what he's doing is like, there are sacrifices, he is committing sins, but he's willing to accept that if it means actually like making a change in his eyes. And Guel doesn't exactly like, he actually like hears what he says. You know, he still in the end wins and like not puts him down in his place. But I think the big difference between these 2 characters is that Shaddiq actually knows the different struggles that Earthian's face, and Guel, he has the hearts, but he doesn't actually like know the actual struggles and what they're fighting for. He just sees the heinous actions that they've committed, which, you know, it is justified to be mad about those. And I think Murone and Guel, they're both in positions where they got the heart and spirits. Like, they acknowledge that there needs to that it's not a black and white situation, but they just don't have like the knowledge that's to back up their their actions, really. And that's something they both basically learned throughout these past 2 episodes, like especially Murone in the last one, who was not in this episode at all, because I hope she's doing okay. And also the fight itself, from like an actual visual standpoint, was really, I was really invested in its action. Like, I like how Guel basically beats Shaddiq in the same way that Suletta basically beats him in episode 1, just like using his flying extra bits to slice up the all the limbs of his mobile suits. And my man basically took on 2 different mobile suits at once and won. Like, this is the dub he finally gets in terms of piloting a mobile suit, because you know the last win was just handed to him in episode 17 because it was all part of a plan. But I mean, this time he fought on his own and he won. And the only like L that could be taken here is that his brother now knows that he ended up killing their father, which we'll see where that goes, because honestly I'm kind of perplexed on where that is going at all. Like, I'm not really sure what the plan is at all, but you know, we'll see. And then another big aspect of the episode that I want to get out of the way is the whole thing with Elan 5 and Noria, because oh man, did that go places here. Like, I admit I was somewhat, I had a level of investment in that, in what was going on between those two in terms of like a dynamic. I know I've said enough already in the last episode, but to see how it ends up turning right here is very interesting. Like, okay, it's not like I'm head over heels about it per se, because I think that Elan 5's turn into like this kind of, the way he starts acting in this episode is a bit too sudden, if you ask me. Like, I think it's a bit too fast of a turn. Like, I think that's the only time where I really feel like the pacing kind of suffers for a character. But I do like what they are going for though, with him trying to like stop Noria from basically killing herself doing this. And it's like, I like Elan 5 still isn't a favorite character of mine, but I am getting more into what's going on with him. And I know there's so many fans of him. I know there's so many fans of Elan 5 and Noria online, and it is so funny. Like, I am so sorry to what happens in this episode, but I do think it should be highlighted how, like, even though Noria is an antagonist in this episode, she still, to me, ends up feeling like a tragic figure. Her character still feels like a tragedy of what happens. Like, she is still doing these heinous actions like Shadiq, but you understand how like things ended up like this for this character, and it is still so sad to see like her basically like going insane as ever since she lost Sophie. You know, she's like grieving about it and just trying to do. She's like, because to me, this whole attacking the school thing, it's so obvious there is no plan here. She just is doing something that she thinks she should be doing just as a Gundam pilot, and just to let out like the hatred she feels for losing so much and just feeling like her life has no value. And I do admit I was into the scene that they had together, that Elan and Noria had, but like I knew it was not going to turn out like this, because Noria has had too many, her kill count is too high up at this point, that I figured that they weren't going to get a happy ending. Honestly, like I can see Elan 5 actually getting like some sort of peaceful resolution by this point, but I don't know, man. I do think though that he is going to be the one that confronts Elan Zero, because Elan Zero has been very like elusive throughout like most of the show, really, besides actually like meeting Suletta once in like episode 7. So I'm curious to see where that goes as well. And it's not just like those like group of characters that I've talked about that get some. Like, I feel like a lot of characters really get meaningful moments in this episode, and that's one of the reasons I love this episode so much. It's like, even at the beginning, we go back to that very weird trio of Martin, Cecilia, and what's that kid, Roji, of just like him just saying, oh hey, I patched things up with my friends, so thanks for that. And then just Roji actually having lines of dialogue with the Haru that looks like that's like interrogating them, I guess. And that was just kind of funny to me. Like, this is a very weird trio, but you know, it's kind of funny. And not even just that, like once the terrorist attack starts happening, Earthhouse is actively trying to figure out like what they're actively trying to help as well, because like once they get into the bunker, you know, they set Choo Choo up with her own mobile suit to try to basically help in any way that she can. And even Felsi gets screen time this episode. You know, I don't know if I've said it before, but I am actually like a Felsi fan, just as in, yes, this character that gets like minimal screen time and dialogue throughout most of the episodes. I like this one. I'm attached to this character. I like her personality, and I like the moments that she gets with Choo Choo. Like, I think they're setting up an interesting dynamic right there, ever since Choo Choo ended up saving Lauda and her in episode 14, and then even the little thank you that she gives in episode 18, yeah, episode 18. And you can tell there's like a friendship forming there that I really like. It's like these two characters, they are in different houses. They have, there's sort of a rivalry there, but they also, but you know, they also work together pretty well, and I like those kinds of dynamics, you know. You know, speaking of Choo Choo, there's also Nika finally coming back to the rest of the group, which is like a big plus of those three characters finally escaping the room. And I really want to see more of Nika actually like interacting with the rest of Earth House again, because I actually do think it was a smart move to get Nika away from all the rest of Earth House, because I think doing that, it allowed Earth House to shine more like the rest of the characters within that group. Because in season 1, you know, you think of Earth House, you probably just mainly think of Choo Choo and Nika, and then you just latch on to any designs you like. I think in season 2 we definitely got a lot more of just the rest of these characters just contributing and just also just getting more out of their personalities. It's like at this point, I have grown so attached to this little family of characters here, and I'm going to be so heartbroken if something happens to them. But you know, listen, they're on a good streak. They have survived so many incidents at this point that I'm kind of convinced that plot armor is kind of invulnerable. But you know, I could be speaking too soon. If something bad happens like a week later or 2 weeks later, I'm going to be devastated, and I'm going to be saying that, and I'm going to be I'm such a mess in the later videos. But then, a character that didn't make it out unscathed was Petra, and you know what? I was more of a Felsi fan than a Petra fan, but I'm still sad about it. Like, I was so into the role that they gave us Petra in this, where she decided to help out Suletta, like just give her her notes because she could tell she was not focusing, and then Suletta, them just basically kind of being friends. I thought it was pretty cute, honestly. And then I really enjoy the way that Petra's words have an effect on Suletta, because it is so obvious that what she says about like wanting to be by Lauda's side and like an apology won't cut it. She wants more than that. Oh, that is going to come back that is going to come back when Suletta meets Murone again, and I'm going to be so into that scene whenever it happens. Like, they're definitely building up to like a scene of Suletta and Murone reconciling, and it is going to be Suletta being the one to demand something on Murone instead of the other way around, like in episode 11, where it was like Murone asking Suletta to rely on her. Now it is going to be the other way around, like Suletta wants Murone to rely and trust in her as well, and it's just, I could see that scene already happening, and I just can't wait for it. But I immediately made this about Suletta instead of Petra, didn't I? Oops. But just, you know, talk more about Suletta, because I'm a traitor, and Suletta's my favorite character. I think it was a really smart move that now that Suletta does not have Ariel, she can't do anything during this whole encounter besides actually just try to help others as like a regular person. Like, she has no mobile suit in this episode, so that leaves everyone else to actually be the ones to fight throughout the episode. And it was that was one of the reasons that like other characters got to shine, because Suletta really didn't do much in this episode, and I think that was for the better, because Ariel, you know, whenever she's with Ariel, she's basically overpowered, but taking that away from her, it allows other characters to shine in battles as well, because, you know, during some of those duels, Suletta was the only one that mattered, let's be honest. Like, the duel in episode 9, like, Suletta and Choo Choo were the only ones that were relevant, and even then, Choo Choo was just there for the finishing blow in that episode. Even still, though, I am holding on to, like, some hope that, you know, maybe Petra's not dead. Like, okay, hear me out. What if, okay, listen, they have prosthetics, the gun arm tech. What if they use that to help Petra, and then that makes Lauda come around to Suletta and her gang, and that allows them to use the Gundam that they have that's been teased in the previous episodes, and that's what Suletta uses when she goes to Earth, because she doesn't have Ariel. And I know it's a stretch to say that Petra's still alive, because I mean, look at her in that one image. She looks so dead. But you know, I don't know. Okay, when Lauda got that call, it was from the medical department. So that means that they had to have taken her to, like, they didn't immediately, like, she had to have like still been in critical condition then if they had to take her to like that to if they didn't just immediately just check her heartbeat that was nothing and then just realize, oh, she's dead. Like, no, there had to have been some deliberate reason for that, man. I am picking up all the pieces that I can and I'm coming to this conclusion, okay? She is somehow still alive and they are going to use gun arm tech to showcase that using gun tech, it can also be used for medical things, because that was the whole goal of Gundam as a company. That's why Murone started it. It's not why, but like that's what they came to for what they're going to do with this company, is that it is going to be used to help people, and I'm convinced it is going to be used to help a bunch of the students that suffered injuries throughout the school. And that's my prediction, okay? I could be wrong, I could be an idiot, I know I'm not alone with this idea, just come on, my fingers are crossed, man. I know I'm huffing copium, you can laugh at me next week. Alright, but to talk about something less speculatory, by the end of this episode, I really like that, despite all that happens, like the clear tragedy, the name of the episode is End of Hope, it still manages to end in what I deem in a hopeful way, of Suletta just picking up all the debris, doing what she can to help all those that may be stuck under the rubble and debris, because even after everything that happened to her, even after all the pain and such, she is still choosing to help save people, and even views it as kind of a selfish desire, the way she like apologizes to the rest of Earth House saying like, I'm sorry, but can you help me like save these people? And it's like, and that even inspires them as well to want to act as well. And I like that even in this moment, the characters are not just succumbing to despair. They are still giving it their all to do what they can and just help others. And I think that's really is motivational. I really love it when stories that are very tragic or have a lot of hardship in them still have this very hopeful feeling to them. Like, I think that is always like the cherry on top of a very like dark story, really. And I think The Witcher Mercury has been pulling that off in a very like elegant way. It's not like, well, everything suffered, but everything's gonna be okay. It doesn't feel like that kind of attitude. It feels like a very earnest, like, we are going to keep trekking and just keep doing what we can to make things better for ourselves. And I just really love the way this episode ends. Like, man, like I've said before, but like episodes in The Witcher Mercury, they end in such great notes, and it partly is due to the ED, like the music's sinking in, like phasing in, and like again the ED is fantastic. But even still, with everything that happened in this episode, I am going to be hopeful, okay? Like I said before, my hopium, my copium, whatever you call it, it ain't stopping, okay? I am still trucking forward, even with everything that happens, okay, guys? I hope y'all can accept that. I'm still calling it, man. We're getting that happy ending with Suletta and Murone. That's just my prediction. Again, I could be wrong. I don't care. I'm spitting my truths while I can. But on that note, I feel like I've gotten enough energy out of myself with this episode. You know, one of my favorite episodes now. Fantastic, goated series. I love so many characters. Yada yada yada. All that. I feel like I've got it. You know, I just need to stop talking, really. So yeah, I'm going to end things there. If you have your own thoughts on the episode and want to give them, feel free to put them down in the comments. I really like getting discussions going down there. You can subscribe if you want to keep up with these videos, because I'm still going to be making these discussion videos for each week, because it's just a really fun thing I like to do. And with all that said, thank you all for watching, and have a good day.